Hey everybody, welcome back to another Gunpla review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the high-grade 1/144th scale Justice Gundam from Gundam SEED. So in front of us right here we have the high-grade Justice Gundam. Now if you'll notice, this is actually the first non-1/100th scale kit that I've covered on this channel. It's also the first kit I have not shown the unboxing or the speed build of on this channel, and that reason is because I've had this kit in my collection for some time now. I really wanted to talk about this kit for a while, and I wanted to take a break from building and reviewing master grades, so I figured this would be a good time to do it. I also noticed when looking around YouTube that there really aren't any reviews of this kit out there, at least not many. So for all the people out there who may have been looking for a review of this kit but haven't found one so far, this one is for you. So I did a thing on Twitter a couple of days ago prior to making this video where I asked you guys to guess which one of these kits the next review would be on, and the first person to guess it right would be featured in today's video. So congratulations to Twitter user Geo@large, you were the first one to get it right. I'll most likely be doing this again for my next video, so if you'd like to be a part of that as well, make sure you're following me over on Twitter at YouSeeGundam to take part. And now on to the review. Now I wish I could show you guys more of the box, but unfortunately I only have the box art. I ran out of storage space a while ago, so I had to cut up all of my Gunpla boxes, but I did save all of the box art. So unfortunately this is all I have to show you as far as the box goes today. Of course if I have the box, you know, I'll always show the whole thing off, but in cases like this is all I have. Now I picked this guy up at a hobby store, but I can't exactly remember for how much. I would assume if I had to guess it would be around $15 or $16 because looking online that's about how much this kit retails for. As for my overall thoughts on the kit, it has some pros, some nice things about the kit, but there are a lot of negatives that this kit has as well. I will say right off the bat, it is a pretty solid, sturdy kit. However, we have a lot of problems such as really bad, really obvious seam lines, a lot of really bad color inaccuracies, and really not great articulation at all. I promise though we will go over everything in detail in just a minute. One last thing I would say during the overview is that the proportions on this kit do look nice. I looked at the kit and I looked at the animation, and it really does look on model. So that is one thing that this kit does well, which is nice because I really do like the design and the look of the Gundam SEED mobile suits. So now let's take a little bit more in depth of a look at the color inaccuracies and the seam lines. Taking an up close look at the kit, we can see a pretty nasty seam line running right down the middle of the head, one on top of the shoulder and one that runs all the way the length of these white shoulder pieces, one right here on this upper arm inner shoulder part, one down the front of the forearm, one down the front of the upper thigh. We have a really bad one running down the entire length of the lower leg, down the middle of the ankle guard. We have one running down this knee section, down the side of the torso, on the back of the ankle, and down the length of the back of the arm. And that's basically all of them, or at least the main super visible ones. So if you're the type of person who those really bother you, or if you like to clean up seam lines, then these are what you need to watch out for. So let's talk about all the color correcting stickers and the color inaccuracies. There are quite a few. This kit comes with foil stickers for the blue camera on the horn on top of the head, and we get green foil stickers for the eyes as well. If you can see those four little bits that poke out from the sides of the face shield, those are color correcting foil stickers as well. The white trim along the top of the chest is unfortunately all stickers. Those are all the stickers that are on the main body. Let's talk about the color inaccuracies. The insides of the vents on the chest are supposed to be darker. The top parts of the front skirting are supposed to be a darker pink. This part's supposed to be pink on the inside. The corners of the shoulders up here are supposed to have a little bit of pink on them. The top of this V-fin is supposed to be pink to match the head and not yellow. The top of the knees right here are supposed to be dark gray, and these leg vents are supposed to be a bit of a darker color on the inside. So that's about all for the main color inaccuracies on the body. I'm not saying it's a bad kit because it has some color inaccuracies. I get it, it's a high grade, it's not going to be 100% spot on. I just wanted to point these out because if you're thinking of getting this kit and you want it to be extremely color accurate, this is what you're going to have to watch out for. So now moving on, here is a size comparison between the 1/144th high grade Justice Gundam and the 1/100th Reborn 100th Zaku 2 Kai. Moving right along to the accessories, here's the high grade Justice Gundam with everything that he comes with straight out of the box. We get a beam rifle, a shield, 2 beam saber effect parts, and the backpack. So not much in terms of accessories, but this is basically the Justice Gundam's full arsenal, and it's a high grade, so you can't really expect a whole lot. Taking a more in-depth look at the accessories, let's start off with the beam saber. These are basically just your standard beam saber. If you do want to equip the beam sabers, you do have 2 beam saber handles that are stored right here in his hip skirts. Just push them out and slot the beam saber effect part right in there, and then that just sits right in the hand just like that. Next up we have the shield, and this thing honestly does kind of suck on a few fronts. The first thing you may notice right up here is that this yellow part is actually not a part at all, it's a sticker. I don't know why we couldn't have just gotten one more yellow piece. It's definitely big enough for them to make it, and we already had yellow in this kit. The sticker really just looks so terrible in my opinion. You can see all of the fold lines and it just looks ugly. Of course you can paint it yourself, but this is an out of box review, and out of the box this thing just looks like crap. Also, these two little vents right here, these are supposed to be white. We don't even get stickers for those, so you're gonna have to paint those if you want that to be color accurate. Last we have the clip on the back that attaches into the arm, or should I say more like onto the arm, because there's no peg actually holding it in place. It has kind of a flimsy connection. It's not necessarily going to fall off at the smallest touch, but it does have a pretty loose connection to that arm. It tends to slide around a bit, and in my opinion it doesn't really feel good just sitting on there. Next up we have the beam rifle, and really I have barely anything good to say about this thing. The details on it are nice, I will give it that. It does look like a cool gun, but there's absolutely no color accuracy, no color separation whatsoever. We have a really ugly seam line going right down the middle, and the only thing that it can really do is this handle up in front can move side to side. We get no stickers out of the box to fix this, it's just the one solid gunmetal looking gray. Also, if you want the Justice Gundam to hold the beam rifle in his hands, well, good luck, because the handle is too small for the handhole. I don't know who designed this, but this thing really just flops super loosely around in there. If you want the Justice Gundam to hold his weapon straight out, you're going to be playing a balancing game, because this thing is loose as hell. So up next we have the backpack, and this is actually pretty surprising in both good and bad ways. Now, as you can probably see just by looking at it, there are quite a few color correcting stickers, but we'll take a look at those closely in just a minute. The backpack is in a purplish pink, a bit of a darker color plastic than the main body, so there is a bit of a nice color difference there. However, on the backpack itself, color separation is pretty lacking. For example, this big vent section on the middle of the back of the backpack is supposed to be a dark gray, and the tips of the guns are supposed to be pink. We're also supposed to have a bit of different colors of pink and purple thrown around in here, but it's all just the one shade of pink. As for stickers, the small fin and the two larger fins are color separated by yellow and white stickers, and we get two really large color correcting stickers that run down the length of these wings on the outside. As for the functionality of the backpack, we get a poly cap on the back side here, and that serves as the attachment point onto the back of the Justice Gundam. These wings can be positioned up and down just like this, full 360 degree rotation, and they sit on a little arm inside that can also swivel around 360 degrees. The guns on the front can also move up and down. In order to attach the backpack, all you have to do is just slip the poly cap onto the peg just like this. Now, something that's a really pleasant surprise about this kit is the first time that I looked at it, I thought to myself when I saw the backpack, there's no way that this thing is going to stand up on its own. I thought the backpack was way too bulky on first glance, and I said there's no way that thing is going to stand on its own 2 feet. But surprisingly it does. It can freestand with the backpack on with no problem. Now, if you start trying to do anything other than a standing pose with the backpack on, it's probably going to fall over, but doing a standing pose, it can support its own weight. One other thing that this kit comes with is this cool little action base adapter. You just kind of sandwich it in between the lower and upper half of the Justice Gundam, and then it sits right back there and you just plug it right onto an action base. It also comes with a sheet of sticker style decals. Now that we've covered the accessories, let's move on to talking about the articulation. Starting from the head down as usual, we have all the way down and all the way up motion right here. We get a full 360 degree spin at the neck, 360 degree spin at the shoulder, and there is actually no forward movement whatsoever at the shoulder because these just sit on a peg that does not move at all. Arm all the way out to the side, 360 degree spin, shoulder armor can move independently of the shoulder. We get a pretty awful bend at the elbow here, and seriously, that's all you're going to get out of this thing. Wrist is on a standard ball joint, 360 degree spin at the waist. We do get a little bit of an ab crunch. The front skirting armor only has a certain range of motion. It can go past that, but if you move it past a certain point, the front part actually just pops clean off. Now, the side skirts can only move out this far, and you might think that's going to really interfere with the range of motion for the legs, but it actually doesn't, and I'll show you why in a minute. We get no movement on the butt flap whatsoever, leg all the way up to the front, all the way out to the back. We do get an almost very nice bend at the knee, however, it is cut short by that vent on the back of the lower leg. This very obtrusive ankle cover moves up and down a little bit. There's the foot all the way up, all the way down, and we get no bend at the toe. Here's all we get for a side to side motion. Now remember how I said the side skirts don't interfere with the range of motion of the legs at all? The only reason they don't interfere with it is because the legs can't even move out far enough to touch the side skirts. They sit on these ball joints in here, and it's just absolutely a terrible design for the legs. You really shouldn't expect to get anything crazy out of these. We get a tiny amount of rotation at the upper thigh, and that's as close as this thing is going to come to ever doing the splits. So the articulation on this kit is pretty bad. And I mean, this kit did come out in 2012, it's about 8 years old at this point, so it probably is a little bit dated, but I've seen high grades with way better articulation than this. It's not the worst, but just don't expect to get any crazy poses out of this guy, and you probably want an action base if you're going to be doing any posing with the backpack on. Now, before we wrap up the review, it does have kind of, I guess you could call it a transformation. It's kind of a transformation gimmick. I'll show that to you right now. Now, if you noticed earlier when we were talking about the backpack, it sits on a polycap. This polycap is meant to rotate so the backpack can flip up and go over the shoulders like it shows here in this diagram. Now, when you try to flip it down initially, you will notice it gets stopped by the head and the V-fin. So the only way to complete this kind of transformation is to take the head off completely and not knock the backpack off, push the backpack down, and then put the head back on. I would really personally prefer not to have to do this, but it's not the biggest deal, it just kind of sucks. Also, when you have the backpack over the shoulders, say goodbye to any of that articulation you have in the head. And of course, you can still move the guns around and you can still position the wings as you like. Now, the nice thing is that the Justice Gundam can still stand up freely with the backpack in this position. Of course, again, if you want to do any sort of poses, you are going to want to put it up on an action base, but it is nice that it can support the weight of its own backpack freestanding. Alright guys, so that is going to do it for the review of the high grade 1/144th scale Justice Gundam from Gundam SEED. My final thoughts on it are, I really don't like this kit. Is it the worst kit ever? No, but it's definitely not that good either. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's not worth the price, but this isn't a kit that I would recommend that you go out and pick up either. If you're a fan of the Justice Gundam, you may want to take a pass on this one and get the Master Grade instead. Of course, if the Master Grade's out of your price range and you just want a cheap kit of the Justice Gundam and you don't really care about all of its negatives, then definitely go for it. However, the bad stickers, the lack of articulation, and the kind of underwhelming accessories really just make me personally not a huge fan of this kit. Anyways, that's all I have to say on the kit. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like, as it does help the channel out a whole lot. And if you like what you saw, you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell if you haven't already so you'll be notified of every time I upload. If you'd like your own chance to be featured in a future video like we did today, or if you just want to see what I'm up to when I'm not making videos, make sure to go follow me over on Twitter, which is of course at YouSeeGundam. We also have an official YouSeeGundam Discord now. If you'd like to join that, the link will be down in the description. There's a role you can get in the server where you'll receive a ping every time I upload a new video, so if you're worried about Twitter or YouTube not giving you notification for when I upload, you never want to miss a video, make sure to hop in the Discord, make sure to grab that role, and you'll know every time when I upload. Anyways guys, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. That's going to be all from me for today. And remember, keep your eyes to the skies, and until next time, this has been YouSeeGundam signing off.